It's your boss, International. So, I'm here with my brother, Travel Shortcuts.
You know what time it is, all the way from London, Northwest London to be precise. And I'm a veteran so-called survivor from this horrendous quarantine coronavirus/19 era. There you go.
That was a lot.
It was a lot. That's what she said.
Tell me some British slang.
Oh,
you know, like New York, we got pause and son and stuff like that. Tell me some. I like that British slang. And the British movies have been getting really good, man. A couple of them joints, and they show the brothers in there. It's getting pretty good, man. Tell me some British slang.
All right, so
what part first are you from?
Okay, so with my origins is African and Portuguese. So my background is African in terms of Angola, because we're colonized by the Portuguese, and obviously Portugal as well. But obviously we were raised and born in London, England, and that's where my era is, especially Northwest London to be precise. And I believe you wanna learn some English slangs, if I'm not mistaken. Well, we have various ones.
Just give me a couple of popular ones.
Popular ones. Okay, cool. So we say bait. We have one called bait.
Use it in a sentence.
Bait.
So we have an idea.
So for example, if you were talking to a girl, and you wanted to kind of allude to the fact that you wanted her, and you're going, like you were kind of speaking to her a bit, I guess, sexual or too attentive, then we'll say bro, or we'll say bruv. Actually, you say bro, we say bruv. You're being too bait when you're talking to my girl. So bait, it's like you're too obvious, you're too desperate, I guess.
It's like in New York we say thirsty.
There you go, you're too bait, yeah. But then you can say bait in various contexts as well at the same time. Right. Bait is a very popular one, and also bruv. So forget bro, in London especially we say bruv. So there you go, instead of bro, bruv.
Okay.
And then you get a lot of things. I mean, if you want to address a little girl, and you want to say a little girl, I don't mean underage, I mean just a little shorty, I guess.
Yeah.
You want to say, oh, she's pang. I mean, she's pretty, she's over the top.
Pink or pank?
Pang.
Pang.
P-E-N-G, pang.
Pang.
Oh, she's pang, you know? Yeah, and then boys will mostly say that. But if a girl wants to kind of holler at a guy, when I get a guy's attention, they say, oh, he's buff. Meaning buff. Not just muscular, but it means like he's handsome,
right.
you know, he's athletic, he's attractive. There you go, pause. Definitely on that spectrum. Exactly that. There's no rainbows and butterflies, I'll tell you that.
Tell me this. Are most of the black people in London, they're either African descent or Jamaican?
Do you know what? London is very diverse. There's a large amount that are Jamaican descendants from the Windrush era. And then there's also a lot of African populations. But then there's also a lot of African, not just African in terms of black, but also Arab African. In terms of Algeria, Somalia, you know, Somalia, Algeria. They've got a lot of Moroccans there. It's very diverse. So you're not just African. And now they have a lot of influx of Eastern Europeans also. And the Eastern Europeans are funny because not just white. They have a lot of tan skin. So some of them even look black as well. You know how black is very is very diverse. It comes with many tones, etc. So it's not just black and Nigerian and Jamaicans, but also other ethnicities that dominate England, but mostly London and other places such as big cities such as Birmingham and Manchester. Because the funny thing is, when we think of England, we just think of London. We don't think about the other places such as Birmingham, Manchester. I'm sure you've heard of these places.
Right, but I haven't visited those areas.
There you go.
And what area are you from?
Northwest London. So I'm the big Londoner. I think there's 8 million people in London currently. Because it's funny, because when you think of England, you think of, oh, bloody hell, look at it, it's tiny. You know, Mickey Mouse. But then when you go to London specifically, it's massive. You know, we have a huge underground
trains that
exactly. You refer to it with subway. Massive city, especially the capital. Very bloody expensive, but then again, you know, it's very unique and it's very authentic, I guess, because again, it's made up of large amount of different ethnicities. So you get a lot of selection, I guess, a lot of varieties in terms of cuisine and etc.
Well, when I visited London,
right,
I noticed the similarities to New York.
Right.
Similarities in America, how some ideas that they copied.
Right, I can see that. I can fathom that concept.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of those things where I guess you can relate to me in this aspect in terms of it depends where you are. I mean, if you go to bloody I think you've mentioned you've been to Brixton, South London,
right?
And I can show you parts in Housden in Northwest London, and you'll think bloody hell, this is was it downtown New York or some stuff like that.
Yeah.
However, I can take you to other places like Kingston, which is kind of southeast. I can take you places like Piccadilly and all sorts, and I can take you places like Richmond and things, and you'll be like, wow, where the hell are we? Are we in heaven? It's all polished here. Everything's so clean and dandy. You know, you'll see Mary Poppins down the road singing along. You know, so it just really depends where you go, I guess.
Yeah, when I was there, I visited Brixton.
Whoa.
Sorry about that. And it kind of reminded me of Brooklyn a little.
Right,
something.
right.
A lot of Jamaican culture,
very much
black
so.
culture,
very
kind of flea market areas and stuff like that.
That's right, and it's funny how you say that because you made the point that we try to emulate places like New York, right? And it's factual because I remember over 10 years ago, I was in Brixton. It used to be a lovely place. With my boys, you know, there used to be a lot of festivals and parties, etc. I'm not talking about parties out in the park where you just go out, you know, you get a little cheap drink,
right?
And you just hang out, you know, you see girls, you chop them up, hey, what's going on?
Right.
I guess you say chat up and whatnot, and used to be cool. Whereas now, unfortunately, you have these gang cultures now. You're like, oh, what area code are you from? What postcode are you from? And you have a bit of hostility now, and sometimes, unfortunately, you know, you can get some confrontation when you go to these certain parts.
Right.
So I guess we try to emulate and copy your I guess, kind of gang culture in terms of color, gangs, rival gangs. I mean, there was a time when we were doing like blue versus red, as you equate to Crips versus Blood.
That's
so
crazy. Is that hip hop?
Yeah.
And pop culture, just traveling all over the world?
Exactly that, and that's the daunting fact that we have there. But now, thankfully, it's cleaned up. I hear Brixton now. It's no longer. I mean, you can still can detect the Jamaican influence, but it's more now punk rock. Yeah, they've cleaned it up a little bit. They've built up the streets and the bars and the housing around. So now actually it's very vibrant in terms of the punk rock culture. Okay. So you got a lot of I guess Caucasians going there with their little rock concerts and etc. So it's completely different. So if you were to go back, and I'm sure you're planning a trip back sometime, you will be astonished and amazed at how it looks. But then again, we always have these kind of Jamaican, African influenced areas, especially in urban housing establishments.
Yeah, because when I went to, of course, Barber World TV, I went to the barbershops.
Wow.
And a lot of the barbers were either Jamaican or African.
That's it. That's the majority.
You know, that was it. We walked around, you know, but we knew not to go too far and do. It reminded me, you just knew that, yo, you in the urban community here. Don't fall asleep. Exactly. Don't stay too late when the sun goes down. You know, keep your bearings around you. But you know, but being from America, being from New York, you always kind of got your guards up no matter where you go.
Right, exactly. You got your spider senses going.
Yeah.
I mean, that's another slang here. I believe you use it as well, slipping.
Yeah, don't get caught slipping.
Easy slip. And the thing is, London's so massive and you have so many twists and turns that you can be in one area and it's all good, and then you turn around and then woof.
A lot of places are like
it's
that.
It's a different, yeah.
A lot of places are like that. You go down the wrong street and you be like, you walk a few blocks and you go. Like, oh, things changed around
here. It can get real quick, you know?
Right.
Exactly that.
So how was it growing up a black man in London? Is it similar to America with racism and you know, misfortune because of your skin color? You know, is it like that or is it different?
I would have to say hand on heart is completely different. Because the portrayal that I'm seeing, the narrative that I've been seeing from the television, from what's being fed to us through the media, is America. It seems like a war zone. You know, it seems like bloody, what is it? Survival of the fittest or whatnot. I mean, in terms of the strongest house Negro surviving. In England, thankfully, I was brought up in a multicultural society, being from northwest London. We're very multicultural, so we have blacks, we have Arabs, we have Muslims, we have Jewish, we have Iranian, we have all sorts. So I was very diverse school education I received. Right. So I had Jewish friends, I had black friends, whereas in America, you have places where it's just all black.
Yeah,
there's schools that are just all black, and it's just there's definitely a separation there. And the most that we'll get perhaps is maybe a look, maybe a word here and there, but nothing in terms of the whole police brutality that you see.
Right.
And that's coming out of the US, so it's completely different. I'll have to say. Yes, you do realize you're black from an early age. You know, there's whiteness around you, especially in the media. You know, obviously discriminations here and there, but I would say it's not an extreme amount compared to the US. Definitely not.
Now, follow me on this. See if, I don't know if you disagree or agree. I remember I was in my shop in Harlem in New York. I was cutting this brother from London. Right. He's an African. He was, you know, African or black man from London. Either African or Jamaican descent, whatever.
Right.
He was telling me that when he grew up, and he said like he said that they thought like people that look like Will Smith and stuff like that were mulattoes. Like they didn't look at them as black, you know, because they said because people where I'm from is only people come out looking like that is mulattoes.
Right.
Now you agree with that?
I don't agree with that.
Okay.
You know, because like even myself, if you see me, I guess I'm black, but I'm not. I guess I'm not Wesley Snipes shade. Yeah. However, if you look at my siblings, and these are siblings from mother and father,
right?
They're completely very light. You know, they're probably, I guess, near enough Cardi B's complexion.
Right.
But yet we're black. I would make the assumption that we're black.
Right.
And the thing is, we have melanin. Black has a lot of tones in it.
Right.
You know, black is the dominant, I guess, pigmentation. So I believe with that narrative, it goes back to the whole Willie Nitch kind of divide and conquer, you know. Certain people think they're superior, I guess, because they have a lighter shade. Hence maybe why certain people, especially from, I guess, Jamaica and Africa, they resort to bleaching their skins to feel a bit superior. Even in the Dominican,
even Haiti too.
Even in Haiti, when I was living in Thailand, you had these bloody Thai people that walk around with umbrellas in the sunshine because they don't want to get darker. But then again, I guess
not
it's
just Thailand, that's Japan too.
There you go, even here in the DR, and it's funny because, but then again, there it's more of an economical perspective and rationale, because over there, if you want to have a better job, you have to have lighter skin. So again, that's just the status quo, I guess. That's the brainwashing, the propaganda that's being fed to us that white is more superior.
Yeah, well, that's all over the world.
But then again, when I come to these parts, like when I go to more developing countries like Thailand, Cambodia, and India, it perplexes me, because you see the white man that loves the sun and likes to get his skin tanned. In London, we say, oh, they love it tanned. It's a show-off culture. They go back, we're supposed to go on holiday, Caucasians are supposed to go back to work, and they'll be like, oh, look at my tan.
That's the same in America.
The same in America as well?
Yeah.
And it astonishes me, because then my brothers and sisters, you know, being a more darker skin, they don't like that. They think, oh, I'm getting darker, I'm ugly. It's like darker skin.
Because they was taught that, though. You know?
There you go.
There's a learned behavior.
And there you go. And that's the thing. That's just the thing that I just never seem to grasp nor articulate, you know. But then again, there you go. It's just politics all around, I guess.
Right. So let's get on a lighter note. That's something that we both have in common. And it's the traveling. You know.
Wow.
What inspired you? When did you start traveling, and what inspired you to start traveling?
Right, I started traveling when I was at university in 2009, I believe.
How old were you?
Yes, and I believe I was 21, 22, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a group of us, and they're like, hey, let's go to Greece. You go to university. You got all these bouncy suburban kids. Hey, what's up, radical dude? As you'll say, we'll say, oh, lads, let's go out, let's go on an adventure. Let's go to Greece. Let's conquer and spread our wings in Marvel. And I'm like, huh? And they're like, yeah. And I had a passport, everything, but I guess I was scared of the unknown.
Right.
Because then, you know, again, like you're getting fed lies on the TV that you're black, you're already at a disadvantage. I remember my school teacher telling me, like, you have to work as hard as the other kids because you're black. Right. So you won't get as many opportunities. So I'm in this kind of realm where I should be happy where I am. Right. Like, I'm not, the whole world doesn't accept me. Right. I should just be happy where I am, where that's a false narrative. Right. So it's something, you know, just me being in university, being away from home, and just being exposed to different things and different perspectives. I said, you know what? Let me try this traveling thing out. You know, what's the worst that can happen? And I ended up going to Greece, and it was a phenomenal experience. And I felt that me being black, I was gonna get treated less better off as my Caucasian counterparts and colleagues, and that was completely false. If anything, I got treated better because I was different.
Unique.
There you go. And it's that exotic appeal, I guess. It's something different, and I guess that intrigued me, like, hey, wait a minute, is this supposed to happen? And then I start thinking, like, is it just Greece? Can it be a different country that will welcome me and will treat me this well? So there you go. So that's how I kind of try. I guess it was kind of like I wouldn't say addiction, but it was this kind of exposure that I wasn't used to. And I said, you know what? How far can this go? And that tickled my curiosity.
Right. And did you start traveling again when you were done, or did you travel every year since then? Like, did you travel while you were finishing university, or did you travel every time you had a break from university? I
ended up traveling after university, because you know, at the end of the day, you still have to. I'm from a very traditional African Portuguese roots, so they were very forceful in terms of going out there and getting the best education possible. Right. And then after you get your education, then you do whatever you want with your life. Which is a lie, because they still had expectations. Right. But at the end of the day, you know, you're a man, and you make your decisions. So I ended up traveling after that, and it just ended up like just from work holidays. When I had work holidays, I'll go to different places. But I actually made a move of doing a TEFL course, which is teaching as a foreign language. Right. So I ended up doing that. My big bro, Mehdi, if you're watching, cheeky bastard. He put me onto the TEFL, teaching as a foreign language. Me and him done it together after university. Because the conundrum is, an issue after an issue was, we would go to university, we would graduate, but we wouldn't get in the jobs that we wanted.
And what job did you want? What did you go to
And
school
I wanted
for?
to do business management. That's where I done business management and politics. I did, but I wanted to go into the corporate scene. But then again, it was a very big benchmark, and it's very competitive. So I mean, we were getting jobs, but it was mediocre. It wasn't the job that we aspired to get. Right. So he put me on the TEFL course. He said, hey, let's just take a year out, let's travel, let's see the world. And I was like, you know what, why not?
Right.
What have I got to lose?
Right.
So it's funny, we done the TEFL together, we done the course, you know. I believe in the US you call it a tussle, I'm not too sure. But he ended up going to Saudi Arabia, Riyadh, and ended up going to Thailand. So I actually went in Thailand for a year to teach English and travels, part of a package.
Did you teach in a class or did you teach online?
On the class.
Okay.
So I taught English, and it was a massive school. It was in a province, in northeast province in Thailand called Surin. It was famous for the elephant. It's spelled Surin. The school was called Anoban. It was a private international school. And I was teaching grade 3, so I believe kids that were like 9 and 10.
Right.
And I was in charge of 4 classes, and there's literally 50 kids per class, roughly.
Wow. So how did you feel about that? Like, did you like it? Was it a hard on taking? Like, how was that? One, moving out there, staying out there a year. Thailand, I don't know how much English they speak out there, but did you have to learn the language there as well?
No, because thankfully it was an international school.
Okay.
So the kids already spoke near enough English, because from kindergarten they were getting taught English, because again, these are wealthy parents.
Right.
So they spoke a little bit, but they had a little grammar issues, etc. So at least you had something to work on, as opposed to the kids speaking minimal English.
Right.
And it was a difficult transition. However, it was the most beneficial experience I've ever gained in my life, because it was me preparing myself to leave my comfort zone,
right,
and embark on new experiences. Sometimes you have to close new doors to open other doors.
Close old doors.
There you go. To open. So I'm thinking ahead. See, I'm always thinking bloody ahead.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to close old doors to see new doors and open new doors.
Right.
And that's what it is. It's me just being prepared to close my old life, you know, exit my comfort zone and embark on a new adventure. And unfortunately, as a black person especially, you know, this transition ain't made easy for us, especially where we're not in our background or in our environment. We're not really being encouraged to travel.
Right. How were you received in Thailand, being a black man?
A lot of attention. But then again, I saw my Caucasian counterparts. They also received a lot of attention.
So,
more specifically, I guess myself, because they're not used to too many. I guess European black people traveling.
The brothers with a British accent.
Exactly that.
They're like, oh, that's.
So there you go. It was nostalgic. It was a nostalgic experience for them at the same time, especially where I was teaching, because you don't get too many foreigners, let alone whites.
Right.
You don't get none of. So when you're just completely different at all, you know, you get a lot of attention, a lot of stares, a lot of looks. A lot of people digest these experiences as a negative accumulation. However, I see it more as a progressive movement towards change, because not necessarily a look can mean a hostile perceptions. For example, I'll tell you this story. One day I was walking down the local supermarket to get a few things, 7-Eleven to be precise. There's an abundance of them in Thailand.
Right.
All over. Right. America have bloody taken over, I'll tell you that. So I was walking around 7-Eleven, I was heading on to my normal daily trip there, get a few things. And then I saw this old Thai guy, he came and stopped me. And he's like, hey, where you from? And I'm like, okay. But he's been staring at me for like a minute.
Right.
So again, people can articulate that as a hostile. Oh, he's staring at me because I'm black. He hates black.
No, in some countries, they just stare at you because you're different.
There you go. That's the narrative I'm promoting here.
Okay.
So he came up to me. He's like, hey, because they're very forceful in Thai and they're not timid. Right. They're like, hey, where you from? I'm from London. Oh, okay. What's your name? And this is broken Thai, whatever. Right. Broken English, sorry. Right. And I'm like, oh, from England. He's like, okay, where you going? I said, oh, I'll buy some things now in the 7-Eleven. He goes, no. You come. And then he grabs my arm and he's trying to drag me and he's like, you come. I said, well, where are you taking me? And I'm laughing like, again, I'm not hostile. I can understand someone probably in my shoe being like, "Hey, why are you touching me,
Maybe
dog?"
because he was an older guy too.
Yeah, I guess, but just like the energy, and he's smiling as well. A lot of people can maybe look at that like, "Oh, what's going on? Like he's trying to set me up. He's trying to rob me." Right. But I was just like, I just fed into the energy, and it was very warm. Right. So I said, "Oh, where are we going?" And then he says, "No, you're good today. You're going to my house, and you're gonna eat with my family." Wow. And I was like, wow. And that's and I wouldn't say everyone's gonna get that in Bangkok, Thailand, but if you go to the smaller provinces, you get more of the local experience where they're not after your money, they're not just speaking to you because you're a foreigner, but they're just friendly and they're very welcoming towards people who are new in their town and in their village or whatnot. So I'll encourage everyone to just to kind of test the waters there. Mm-hmm. And with me, I just wanted up like 2 hours later, I'm sat down in this Thai home, very ghetto, and I'm eating, and we're feasting, and we're drinking. And Thai, they drink a lot straight whiskey. They don't like mixing nothing, straight whiskey. I believe the beverage was Hong Thong. If you're in Thailand, you know what I'm talking about. It's called Hong Thong, cheap Thai whiskey. And I tell you what, that messes you up, man. That messes up all the bloody senses. Bloody, I was like Big Bird in Sesame Street at the end of the night. It was crazy, but that's the thing that every time I remember Tyler, I just think of that one experience where he doesn't know nothing about me. Right. But just because I'm different, I'm new. Mm-hmm. He's willing to gravitate towards me and receive me and show me that he's very appreciative that I decided to go and visit his country.
Yeah, I mean that's a great story too. That's a great story and experience to have. Right. So after 1 year you teaching, what did you do then? Did you decide to stop and do something else? What was it?
Well, unfortunately, I wouldn't say unfortunately, but you get family pressures. You get my parents. Oh, when you gonna coming back?
They missed you.
Don't give up on England. You have a degree.
Okay. Yeah, I heard the African family is real strict about education and profession.
Oh, right. They leave you on a pedestal. So they're like, hey, give England one more chance. You have nothing to lose. And I went back. I tried to gel in, and that's the thing is a lot of people don't tell you. Maybe my little brother Pedro, big up yourself, Timber. You can maybe you know what I'm talking about. Once you start traveling, and you go back. It's like it's not the same.
Life is boring.
There you go. It's like this. I wouldn't say drug. I want to say drug or obsession. I don't want to. It's just exposure. It's like you've been fed so much stuff. You've been fed. Hey, go school, work hard. You go into a great university. Do well in a great university. You get a good job. Do well in your job. You get a promotion. Do well in your promotion. You can save up for your kids' college fees or whatever. It's just kind of robust, bureaucratic structure within your life, and yet when you travel, it's just so decentral. It's just so different to what you've been fed that you're like, hey, I wanna. And it's just every experience is new because you've never been exposed to it at all. Right. It goes again completely what you've been taught. So it's just once I tried to go back to England and adjust, I was just like, nope, I can't. And I think I ended up staying in England for like 3-4 months, looking for jobs that I didn't get. And I just said at the end of the day, I just said, why am I sat here looking for all these jobs or whatnot and being miserable? When I can go back to traveling and again experience myself. And I said, you know what? This is what I'm going to do. I already had my teaching qualification. I already had my 1 year experience in Thailand. So I said, I'm going to sign up for a teaching website and I'm going to see some jobs. And if I get it, I get it. And if I don't, I don't get it. Right. And then I believe a week later, I ended up having a contract to go to Japan for 2 years to teach in Nagoya in an international school. That paid me way more than what I was looking for in terms of the entry corporate level jobs.
So how's your Japanese?
Now I'm thinking. You said that, but I'm thinking in Thai now. Chotto. It means a little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah, Nihonji Choto. A little bit of Japanese, very minimal. Because that's another thing. And in Thai, I was in such a small province that they were like, the Thai locals were like, hey, we know you're a foreigner, but we don't give a damn. We want you to speak Thai. You know, you're with us. And that's another thing. I never understood people traveling to hang around with the people that they meet back home.
Right.
I've always equipped myself to go traveling and interact and immerse myself with the culture and the locals.
Right.
So I was always with the locals and I was always hanging out with the Thai people.
Mm-hmm.
And in Japan was completely different because they have this fascination with Western society. You know, oh, Harry Potter. Oh, you know, James Bond, you know, oh, America, Hollywood, you know, Marilyn Monroe, you know, Frank Sinatra. So they just want to practice their English.
So, you go to Japan for 2 more years teaching.
2 years.
Man, you real international guy, man.
Yeah.
Not only you didn't visit these places, you lived in these places.
Yeah.
And worked in these places.
Exactly. And what I'm missing out was Japan. I had the Japan money. So the Japan money was
strong.
Very strong at that time. It was very handsome. Pause, I guess.
What year was this when you were in Japan?
It was 2000, I believe 2014.
Okay, so that's not too long ago.
No, it was good there compared to now, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So I was like, once I was in Japan, I was doing a lot of traveling overseas because when you're traveling, you have a lot of school public holidays. So I was going to Cambodia, I was going to Korea, I was going to the Philippines. I was having a bloody jolly good time. Whereas I guess my friends back in London that were still petrified to travel, you know, they were still working dead-end jobs and they'll be calling me every other week, all day. Hey, send me some pictures. How is it going? They wanted all this feedback, but they still had that.
You didn't find anybody to say, hey, I'm coming to hang out with you for a week?
I mean, you had these, I guess, false invitations, you know, guys that get a bit too excited and say, yeah, I'm going to try and come there next month or whatnot, but, you know, nothing really,
nobody showed up.
Nothing really happened, nope. I was pretty much all by myself. However, I did get my brother that came to visit me. Ariel, represent yourself, cheeky git. Yeah, he came over there. My brother Ariel, he visited me for like 2 weeks. But apart from that, that was it. Had a bunch of invitations, so-called invitations. Say, yeah, I'm gonna be in Tokyo. Yeah, I'm gonna be in this city or whatever, but nothing. But I had some cool brothers. GS350 JPN, cool YouTuber. He reached out to me and he showed me love. Came to see me, showed me around Japan. Went to see him in Osaka and stuff, and we hanged out. Pretty cool guy. So there was a lot of good brothers, a lot of good network there in terms of foreigners, a lot of good expat community over there.
Okay, so you're in Thai for 1 year. You go home for a little while, then you go to Japan.
Yeah.
That's a lot of time away. What did you do for girls? Did you get a girlfriend in Thailand and Japan? How was the reception with the ladies?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say I had a girl in Thailand, but in Japan, I had a main girl.
She's Japanese or was she?
I had a Filipino
in Japan.
Filipino, and that's why I went to the Philippines.
Yeah.
So bloody hell, these women are gorgeous. Yeah. And they're marvelous, and they know how to take care of a chap.
Yeah.
So I ventured off over there and I had a ball over there. But I also had a main after that broke off. I had a main Japanese girlfriend. And it's funny because she met me at the airport when I was going back to Thailand to visit.
Wow.
Yeah, and she's like, where are you going? I'm like, I'm going to Thailand. She asked for my full government name. Wow. And I gave it to her.
So she bagged you then, basically.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden I'm in Thailand. I'm seeing a friend request on Facebook. I'm like, okay, this is unique. And then I ended up being with her for like 6 months.
Did you get like the weird stares, you know, these girls are with black men?
Yeah, but this is the thing, is a fascination, is a exotic appeal. Because you have to understand, I'm sorry my Japanese comrades, but a lot of these women in these relationships, they're very miserable. Because foreigners are seen as the fun, cool guys. Especially Japanese work, there you go, sir. You know, you hit the nail on the head.
That's what I hear
There you go.
a lot when in my travels.
Yeah.
Oh, why you like black guys? Black guys are fine.
Yeah. And unfortunately, in Japan, you have
swag.
Yeah, in Japan, you have this kind of salaryman cliche where the Japanese men are boring, they drink all the time, they work all the time, which is not true, but it's just that negative stigma.
Right.
And unfortunately, I've seen it because they work a lot, they're very workaholic.
Right.
Unfortunately, work comes first. So the women are supposed to be the housewife.
Mm-hmm.
So if a woman's at home all day, husband's working all night, comes home drunk, what attention has the woman got?
Yeah, they come home drunk because they miserable.
So a lot of the
so
time, there you go. A lot of the time, there used to be this place called the Hub. It's all over Japan, called the Hub, and it's like a foreign spot where all the Japanese girls go to meet foreign guys.
What?
Yeah, and it used to be my bloody go-to place as well.
Oh, okay.
So you see a lot of action over there. I'm not just talking after 9 p.m. stuff, but just general, like just, you know, married women, miserable, and then one hour later she's talking to this foreign guy and she's happy and she's over the moon, and then everyone's buying rounds for drinks, and you know, it's just a different element. But yeah, Japan, they have a big problem, unfortunately, with overwork, and that feeds onto suicide.
Jeez.
I mean, they even have that famous suicide forest there. You know,
they have a forest.
Yeah, that's famous. Yeah, famous forest where I think Logan Paul done a video there as well that he got
people go to kill himself.
Yeah, famous forest. Yeah, people used to go on these social platforms and be like, "Hey, I'm gonna kill myself today. Who wants to come? Okay, let's meet up there and let's kill ourselves." Yeah, it was horrible.
Wow.
But you get a lot of problems there. But Japan, amazing country. I'll say it's my second best country I visited. First Thailand, in Japan, very welcoming. Bloody expensive, but then again they pay well. So again, it's always a balance.
Right.
You don't necessarily spend, but you live a good life, comfortable life. So
after Japan, what happens to lead you to, you know what, I'm gonna try this travel thing full time and do this YouTube, and what inspired you to take it to the next level and do YouTube?
Right.
Start recording your adventures and excursions.
Right. I mean, with me, I've always been recording stuff. I just recorded it for my own personal just memories, you know, of places I've been, you know, good guys that I've encountered, girls, whatever, people. Right. And then I've always had footage, but it was in my my hard drive, my external hard drive, and then unfortunately all my memories got corrupted. But I was always watching videos, and I think it was always been there, but I just never really saw it. I mean, again, I'm after 2 years in Japan, you know, I got a bit homesick because yeah, you can go out, you can meet lovely people and have a great time, but family is family.
Right.
You know, they can never be replaced.
Right.
So I ended up going back to the UK and tried to start fresh over there. And I was miserable. I felt like my life was going in a circle. And again, it just feels like you're just going back to square one, I guess. You know, same old, you know.
Right.
And then someone just told me, like, you've went to all these countries, how come you haven't put it out there yet?
And I'm just like, one smart guy.
Yeah.
Right? I just show you the obvious.
Yeah, and I've always knew that, but I felt there was this bad stigma with a YouTuber. I felt like they were just doing it just for views. Whereas when you're traveling and you're recording, you're doing it for yourself, because all my memories and footage were personal.
Right.
But then again, it just made sense, because every time when I came back, everyone would always ask me,
right,
how was this country? How did they feel about black people? You know, how did they feel about foreigners? Is it safe? Did you get any racial abuse?
How are the girls?
There you go. How are the women? Did I like black man? That was a common one.
Yeah.
So it just made sense to do a travel channel, and I say and the name of my channel is called Travel Shortcuts, because I guess I'm trying to give you the shortcut answer. You know, I'm not trying to go on a hypothesis of what or an assumption, but I'm giving you something that I've experienced.
Right.
So if I tell you, hey, go to Thailand, and if you're black and you have a good night, and you want to have a good night and go all out, go to Club 808 or Flex. Or if you're from whoever, from any walk of life, and you want to go to Europe and you have a budget, go to Bratislava in Slovakia. I can tell you that because I've been there, I've done that.
Right.
You know, I can tell you the districts, where to go, where not to go, and etc. So it's just giving the shortcut, the short answer, as opposed to a long. And I think sometimes we need guidance, especially someone that isn't too familiar with traveling.
Who inspired you to start, and when did you actually start your channel?
Bloody hell, you know you inspired me to go to Colombia, Barbara. Especially under this pandemic. I said, hey, if Barbara gets COVID, I'll get COVID. Hey, I'm not going down by myself.
No COVID. No COVID. No COVID over here. We don't even talk that like I don't even drink Corona because of that shit. I say, I will not drink Corona until this is over. Presidente, Heineken, rum punch, no Corona. No Corona.
You have been worried there when you were missing for a while. You have been worried.
Yeah, but that was my stomach. That had nothing to do with Corona. Thank God. Thank God.
No, but seriously, just a bunch of YouTubers. At the end of the day, was it GS350 JPN, a Japanese YouTuber. He's American, but he lives in Japan. And he's pretty much Japanese.
Right.
You know, obviously yourself, Barbara TV, all over the world. No matter what's going on in the world, what can be burning, you're still out there with your camera. Flyboy Way, you know, Rami Travel there, even though he's thankful enough to be alive. He's there. Just a bunch of YouTubers there. Man. Big J Escape, because he's a fellow Londoner like myself, and he went there to the DR, because you American guys, you're keeping the DR from us. You're very hush-hush. You're very hush-hush.
No, you know what it is?
What is it?
Y'all have the countries that are close to you guys, and we have the countries that are close to us.
Right.
So quite naturally, we Americans are going to do Mexico, Dominican Republic, Jamaica, Bahamas, all this stuff in the Caribbean is close to us.
Right.
So we knock those things out, and you guys knock out a lot of the European countries because it's close to you.
It's true.
That's all.
Yeah, no, I'm messing with you.
I know.
But no, it's true. Yeah, this is the thing, because I've just discovered the DR scene really with YouTube. You know, Flip Flop, Borex, Mayor, Sosua, all of these guys, and then obviously with yourself, with the Caribbean, with the Colombia scene, with Flyboy, and it's just being different because it's just the unknown.
Right.
You know, and with us, no one's really promoted that. I mean, yes, I'm from England and stuff, but it's always different.
Right.
Being white and being black. And with us, we've never been really encouraged to go out to these unexplored territories and to gain a perspective. And a large amount of content is mostly Americanized or Canadian, you know, whereas it's from a British perspective. So I guess, hey, I guess it was like the pirate, you know. Why they hiding this hidden treasure? Let me go and explore what's going on. Wouldn't say I'm Jack Sparrow, but I had my curiosity peaked. So there you go. Now I'm here. I don't want to go back. My mom's ringing me every bloody day. Oh, when you coming back, son? We miss you. You coming back for Christmas dinner? I'm like, Mom, you know, you got a new strain, a coronavirus strain. It's more dangerous for me to go back. God save the Queen, love. I don't want to spread my infection.
Top 3 countries.
But that's easy, man. That's Thailand 1, 2 Japan, 3 Philippines.
Okay.
Easy.
All Asia.
Pretty Asia. Hey, man. Hey, what is
they won't say you a traitor.
Hey, man. What did the Hangover film say? Hey, man. Was it Bangkok got you now?
Yeah.
Thailand's got me now. Man.
Okay, so what's next for you?
Cuba. I've always wanted to go to Cuba, you know, Cuban cigars, trying to drive one of them old cars, you know, get a lovely massage by a bad Cubana, mango, definitely, and also Brazil. And it's silly because I speak Portuguese, you know, being from my heritage. But
we'll go together.
But my parents have always said, hey, like the scaremongering. They've always been like, hey, don't go back. We left there for a reason. Why are you going back? So it's just, I don't know, but definitely Cuba, I guess. Cuba and Brazil, definitely. I would be a fool not to go at least in my lifetime.
Those are definitely two must-visit places.
Wrong.
Definitely, especially.
And there's a third one now that me and you've been talking about, and I think you know which one, sir.
A third.
It starts with a bloody V. And I'm not talking about the Virgin Mary or the Virgin Islands.
When things that fear mongering is real for that.
That was very real. That's serious.
But when it opens up, I'm definitely gonna be one of the first online to get up in there.
There you go. And we're talking about bloody Venezuela. There you go.
That's gonna be nice. Thank God to the Venezuelans who have got out of there and living a maybe, hopefully a better life, a safer life.
Very much so.
You know, in all these accepting countries.
Yeah.
Colombia, Trinidad, Mexico.
There's a fair amount. There's even a fair amount here. I met a lot of them in Santo
that's
Domingo,
true.
actually.
Yeah, they are people that are everywhere now.
Yeah, they are.
People from that country.
It's just so bad.
A lot of places.
And I've met guys in Colombia, Venezuelan guys. I'm like, hey, is it really that bad? And they're like, yeah.
The last barber I interviewed in Cartagena is Venezuelan.
Wow.
The guy that was showing me around Bogota was Venezuelan.
Wow.
So they're everywhere. They're definitely everywhere.
Definitely.
Let me do your mustache and then we can wrap it up. That's the last part.
Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah, man. I'm a barber, so when I walk around and see my fellow YouTubers needing a haircut, I'm like, come on, man, let me straighten you out, man.
Oh, thank you.
You're always on camera. You gotta look good.
You have to.
You gotta be camera ready.
Just like with me, I have bad experience with dodgy barbers that leave me these bumps and stuff like that, you know.
Yeah, black man, you know, can't really go too heavy on the razor game.
Exactly, and I'm kind of fearful of the Turkish barbers because they have a habit of starting my hairline all the way bloody back here, you know. Trying to give me that, was it Steve Harvey fade?
Yeah, we know black man is very sensitive about his hair. You know?
Exactly. Don't give me that LeBron James.
Yeah. You know? We want to hold on to it and we want to take care of it, man.
There you go. Now, respect to you, Barber World, man. Like, you gave us hope. Like myself, I was watching your videos, like you and Flyboy Way in the UK, all miserable, and I just saw you traveling. Like, what's this bloody dude doing? Is he one of them white guys like, hey dude, this is radical. Let's go surfing during the pandemic, man. Yeah, but that's the thing and then now as you see everyone's kind of going back to how life was before the pandemic gradually. And that's it. I mean, hey, we only get one life, you know, live it to the fullest. If things happen, it happens. Yes, travel, but travel safely, you know, take precautions, you know, get tested, whatnot, even though I don't bloody trust the tests. But, you know, it is what it is.
I would have never been tested as many times as I was tested if it wasn't for me traveling. You know what I mean? So I feel better that I'm tested frequently.
Of course.
Even when I got sick, I went to the hospital, they gave me a test. When I got back to America, went to the hospital in Miami, I got tested. So, you know, it's like, I feel like I'm staying on top of knowing, you know, my health status regarding COVID from traveling because so many countries want you to be tested before you come in there. And I'm like, cool, giving me a reason to get tested. And as long as it's coming back negative, I'm like, man, let's keep going. That's it. I'm not trying to, trust me, I'm not trying to get sick.
No,
but when you travel the world and you enjoy it, because it's not for everybody. So I'm not pushing it on everybody. I'm not telling everybody to get their passport. I'm not saying none of those things. But when you travel the world and it fills your heart or your soul up, your spirit up with enjoyment, that's a hard thing to replace.
Very hard.
I don't know what you can do to replace that feeling of traveling and exploring if that's what your heart desires.
There's one thing you can do to replace it. you can travel. Book another holiday. Honestly, I get withdrawals.
You can keep traveling.
I get withdrawals when I'm back home. You know.
Yeah, man.
I start itching myself and like, hey.
Listen, I'm not a guy that gets depressed.
Right.
But when I had to stay home because of COVID, I was in bad shape. I was in bad shape.
I should actually thank COVID, because COVID is the thing that made me take that leap of faith. I said, you know what? You know, you're gonna get one life. I don't really know how. I didn't really have a plan, I guess. It's like Iron Mao. I didn't really have a plan. I didn't know what was gonna come. I said, you know what? What's the worst that can happen? I travel. I go broke. I go back home. I start fresh.
Even if you got to work in a soup kitchen or something.
But I have a good experience.
Get a ticket.
There you go.
Get a ticket home.
There you go. There's a funny guy. there's a funny character. A man called Dante Carver, famous guy, American guy from New York. He went to Japan with, I believe, $130 or something. He tried to become an actor. So he went to like 100 auditions, didn't get the part.
Right.
And then he had like $30 left, and he was in a different. I think he was in Osaka or something. And then he had one audition to be an extra. It wasn't guaranteed; it was just a bloody audition, and he had $30 in his pocket. But he said, "You know what? What's the worst that can happen? I go there, I don't get the part. I get the part, great, and then something can come about. Again, sometimes you have to close old doors to open new doors.
Right.
So he went there to audition." You know, he was waiting to audition. He was in like the background because it was just for an extra. He was there. He was talking to his friends or whatnot.
Let me go ahead, keep talking.
And then randomly someone called him and said, "Hey, you come here." One of the guys working on set. He said, "Hey, you come here." And he's like, "Oh, did I do anything wrong?" And then he went up to the guy and said, "Oh, what happened?" He goes, "Oh, you read these lines." And he's like, "Oh, okay. Sumimasen, genki desu ka, da da da." And they're like, "Okay, you come to the office." And this is basic Japanese, like nothing fancy.
Right.
And then he went to the office, and then he sat down. They're like, "Okay, we want to give you the main part. You wanna have it?" He's like, "Yeah." He said, "Okay, sign this contract."
Wow.
And then he got the part. And his name is Dante Carver. And a few years ago, he was voted the best, the most famous actor in a commercial. He's done the motion sensors for Resident Evil, the game franchise. He's been in films. He's all over Japan in the SoftBank commercials. Dante Carver. And for me, that's what I see in terms of leaving your comfort zone.
Right.
And, you know, being prepared to, I guess, have the audacity to challenge the world, you know, and I guess write your own story.
Peace.
Travel shortcuts.
So, tell people how they could contact you. You can look at the camera and tell them.
Oh, contact me. You can go on my Instagram. I believe it's Travel Shortcuts. Just type that. You see a bubbly face that is familiar to you. So yeah, just go on Instagram, travel_shortcuts. I should come up, or you just write Travel Shortcuts. I should come up. Go on my go on my YouTube channel. Travel/shortcuts, first bloke that pops up, and then there you go.
And let me say, this guy right here is a wild guy.
Oh,
I see some of his videos. This guy has fun.
Bloody hell.
Oh man, he's not a shy guy. He's a wild boy. He's way wilder than me. That's all I'm gonna say.
Hey man, I'm doing backflips and roly-polies all over the guy. I mean, I start off, you know, you can see it in my camera. I start off so humble and, you know, attentive and professional, and then as I get a couple of poison down me, I'm like, hangover part bloody 5. That's what it is. No, but respect to you, Barber World. You
Same
know,
here, man.
I reached out to you early before I even traveled here, and you've always been humble with me, very informative. You know, real recognized, real, you know, and warm energy, and that's what we need. We need people to encourage others to travel and gain a new option. Because a lot of people feel that they don't have options in their life. Yeah. They believe that this is their neighborhood. They need to make the best. They need to make the best way possible in their environment, but they don't know that there's other options to explore overseas. Yeah. I mean, a lot of people working overseas, new lives, meeting new wives, etc. There's a lot of options. The world is our playground.
And we just here to share the information.
There you go.
And our experiences to give you the courage to take the leap of faith.
There you go.
To travel.
Exactly.
Because when I was going places blindsided, I looked at other YouTubers to find out information.
Exactly.
Where to fly, what airline, what airport to arrive in, where the taxi, what's transportation to the hotel, should you do hotel, should you do Airbnb, the tourist attractions, the nightlife, and even reach out to barbers on Instagram and say, hey, I'm coming to your country, I like to come by the shop and interview you. So
yeah, exactly that. And there's no excuse anymore. Before it was money. Right. Now excuse. You got Spirit Airlines. You got in the UK, Europe. You got Brighton Air. You got budget hotels. You got hostels. You got Sofa World or whatever it's called, where you can stay at someone's sofa for free.
I don't know about Sofa World.
I heard some kinky stuff's happening there. I've heard horror story. Yeah. Chicken tree, like the glory holes. But hey, I've never partaken in it.
Yeah.
The furthest I'll go is a hostel, and for a hostel, I have to have my own room.
Right.
But that's about it.
Exactly.
That's about it. You know what I mean? Hey, I'm not trying to do that.
All right, brother. Thank you for your time.
Respect to you, Barber World TV. International Barber. You know what time it is. Respect.
Peace.
Peace.